Welcome everybody to this week's main podcast. This is episode 4 of our second season. I'm joined by Luke and Jay. You all right, Luke?
Phantasmagorical, how are you?
Phantasmagorical, wow. I can't even compute that. Jay, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm not quite on that level, to be fair, but I'm all right.
Jay, are you ever phantasmagorical? Have you ever been phantasmagorical?
Oh, now and again. I'm reserved. I keep it here most of the time, you know.
Is it usually when you're cleaning out the chickens?
Not quite, mate. I'm not really that enthusiastic about that, to be honest with you.
So without further ado, we'll get into an intro. Thanks, lads. Well, there we go.
So, that intro there, Gilly, I'm just going to say, Si looks like an American footballer every time I see him because he looks like he's got big pads on, you know, with that baggy shirt. Every time I see him,
don't judge. He might have pads on. He's getting to that age now, Simon, isn't he? You know what I mean?
No, that picture that I converted into the cartoon, I think was the second Champions League season, and I think he was about 8 stone wet through, wasn't he?
Man looks fuck all like me.
Hey, you gave me a picture.
You are, yeah.
Nothing.
Moving on. So we had a Brady and Coke at the weekend, so we did cover the game. It was almost an abortive attempt at a Brady and Coke. Luke and I had to jump on, and then I left into it. So thanks very much for making yourself available at short notice on that one, Luke.
No problem. Fucking what could have gone wrong, though, to be fair? What could have gone wrong? Adam and Carl on the piss in Carl's living room.
In the same location.
As if we just fucking expected it to all run swimmingly, though, realistically. Come on.
We had a single point of failure there, didn't we?
We did.
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah.
But fortunately, you know, there's enough of us around, so you know, we got through. We were joined by Russ, who's a Leeds fan, but covers Rotherham United, I think, for local radio. So yeah, just going to the game. And Luke, I know because you jumped on, you spent some time talking about it, so I don't want to go too in depth. But looking back at the game now and how it went, how do you feel about the result? A good point or points lost?
Exactly, fucking same.
Really happy then, yeah.
It was shite. Yeah, no, I'm not fuming. I think obviously I probably covered most of it and at the weekend, but it was lackluster, wasn't it? We looked real flat. The opposite to energetic, whatever that might be, lazy. I don't know. Is unenergetic a fucking word? Disenergetic. Can we make a word up for what a lackluster performance of Leeds is like? Shite.
I mean, lackluster is a good word. It suits. It works.
Yeah, I don't think my opinions change. I've avoided watching any of it back other than match of the day on Sunday night, match of the day 2 or whatever it is. But yeah, just pretty much that. Russ came on. Russ was the highlight of the day, I think. To be fair, like Russ was actually pretty much. He was really positive and upbeat and threw some great ideas as to how Leeds could potentially improve. And I found myself agreeing with him quite a lot, to be fair. He was a bit of a breath of fresh air, to be fair. So yeah, we move on. And it's how we bounce back from these shite performances, isn't it?
And, you know, to be fair, we had a shite performance against Scum and then it turned into a good one against Everton. So, yeah, fingers crossed that'll be safe. So, speaking of really happy to positive people, Jay, how are you feeling?
Do you know what? This about sums it up for me. So, you know, I work in Burnley, right? So someone at work today says to me, "Oh, we've got a box there. I could have got you in." So, fucking brilliant. Then he asks me, "Do I fancy going to watch Burnley v Arsenal instead?" But I could have killed him. I could have absolutely fucking killed him.
But at least you didn't have to watch that game.
The only problem with you going, Jay, is you won't pass the dress code for Burnley.
You horrible bastard. That's not enough fingers. That's all I've got. Listen, the game itself, I thought another worrying performance. Personally, we didn't get into our groove at all. We let them boss us around. We didn't have our usual amount of possession. We seem to be pinging aimless passes about rather than doing the sort of fluid stuff that we used to. And I don't know why we let them impose themselves like that. That's not our way, and it seems to be becoming a little bit of a theme this season so far. I'm a little bit concerned about that, but we'll see what happens. It is still early days, and it's only
I'm going to say you can't really judge a theme based on our first 3 games. I don't get me wrong, we've not looked a shadow of where we were at towards the end of last season when we put in these fantastic performances against the self-proclaimed Super Six, and we didn't lose a game against any of them towards the last half of the season.
Well, we didn't all season at home. We didn't lose. Yeah.
Sorry. But yeah, we just seem to be. I don't want to say. I mean, a yard off the pace, probably second to every ball, and I know the way we've lined up hasn't helped that because we haven't had our ideal starting 11. I don't think yet this season. Everton probably was the closest we got to that, and that was probably our best performance of the season so far.
Yeah, it probably was. I don't know if it was just the 3 games in isolation, it wouldn't be as bad, but it feels very much like we were crap in pre-season and we've just sort of continued at the same pace, same level. We haven't stepped it up for competitive football, and it worries me a bit. But any of these
one thing I just want to put to that,
okay,
based on our performances, do you think having full crowds has had any effect on particular players?
Well, we have to remember that a lot of our players have never played in front of a full Elland Road before.
Yeah, Click and Bamford and so on.
Exactly. So you never know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Is the answer to that? Without knowing them personally, it's hard to tell. I mean, nobody looks like they're scared to take the ball on, other than Costa, who's devoid of any kind of confidence at the moment. So I'm not. They don't look like they're intimidated by having the crowds there. So I don't think that's the case. But something's different, and I'm getting hijacked by a cat. Something's never changed.
Oh, Davy Crockett's hat's back.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Get down, you idiot!
Brilliant.
Yeah, so that's what I think about that, anyway.
No, that's fair. So just we're trialing some new videos today. If you think the shit, tell us.
Auto no better predictions.
The fuck is that?
Oh.
Gilly's been hard at work again this week,
Look,
so when we say Gilly's trialing some new videos.
Well, when we're trialing something new, it tends to be me that's made it. So yeah.
He'll have made those.
Do you know what it reminded me of? Do you know what that reminded me of? Do you remember the alternative commentary video for the Leeds United goals that were going around?
Yeah, it's supposed to.
Okay. Well, thanks for letting me know.
Well identified. It's called Daniel.
Is he actually a real person?
No, the character's called Daniel. Oh. But that's not actually Daniel. That's a fake Daniel. That's Daniel if you're buying from Wish. Because I didn't pay for the money for it.
Well, it's fair enough.
So we can get through the predictions really quite quickly because nobody got a point. So we'll move on from that. So just coming into current events then. So we've got Dan James. We'll start off with that. We've got Dan James. Luke, I'll come to you first because I think you're potentially a bit more positive about this than I am. I don't know where Jay's head is on this, but
I know where both your heads are, and
it's
going to be. I'm going to find tonight really quite difficult with you two. I think because you're potentially the most negative 2 people I've ever met in my life. But no, I mean, look at it this way. I mean, have we overpaid? Yeah, probably. I don't know what the final fee's been reported at, but I think it's £24.1 million. I think is the upfront fee that I've seen. Which
the upfront fee?
I might be wrong. I've seen 24.1 million.
Wow.
I could well be wrong. Rising up to around about 30 with add-ons. I'm sure we'll never actually find out what those add-ons are or or what. But you look at it this way. Look, Bielsa and Orta and Co have obviously still seen a lot of value in Dan James at that money. Yeah, fair enough. I know when we initially went in for him a couple of years ago now, we were flirting around the £7 million plus add-ons mark, which sounds terrifying compared to what we've just paid. But look, I've got every trust in Bielsa and Orta, and if they still see value in somebody, he's only 23-year-old. He's an international. He's played 50 times for Scum over the last 2 seasons, where they've finished second and third respectively in the table. I mean, I say respectively, I fucking hate them, but yeah, he brings something totally different that we don't really have. We've got a bit of gas, but we haven't got somebody with a bit of gas who can get behind the last man. Harrison always waits for the overlap and cuts inside. Rafinha always tries something fancy with his feet. He's direct, he's fast as fuck, and he obviously opens up the options for one of the two, which I know we're going to come on to as part of the poll, to potentially move players around in certain positions as well. So look, I'm happy with the transfer. I think Bielsa he must have seen something in him. We all saw the Lampard presentation where he had a folder in the corner, didn't we, of Dan James, DJ 7 or whatever I think he said, or DJ whatever, Swansea. So he's obviously tracked him for a long time, and he's been arguably Bielsa's number one target since Bielsa took over at Leeds. I can't think of anybody else who we've been after and made sure that we've got. But yeah, look, I'm more than happy. And as Lindsay said there, he's only going to increase in value with the Bielsa tutorage. So yeah, all in all, happy. But do I think we've overpaid? Probably. But you look at the price of some other players. Ben White, 50 million. When you compare it to that, it doesn't look it's half the price. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, well, I suppose we'll see how it goes. I'm really excited about it and look forward to seeing him play for Leeds.
I mean, just so Gary Lloyd that's just chipped in with a comment there. Let's see what Bielsa does with him before we write him off. I mean, it's a fair shout. Jay, what we're thinking?
I'm a bit sort of in the middle with it. Like, I think he's potentially got the ability to be a really good player, and I'm really interested to see what Bielsa does with him. I'm just a little bit sort of what the fuck at the fee. It's a lot of money. I mean, you've got to say he's British and he's an international and he's played at Euros and all that kind of thing. He's played in the Champions League now. But I still think it's probably about 10 million overpriced for me. But he's here now, so, let's see what he does. And if he starts doing things on the pitch and getting us goals and stuff, then he's going to look like a bargain, isn't he? So, and like you say, he's Bielsa's number one target. So he must see something in him to have sort of pursued him for that long.
At what point do we say that he's been a success then and been worth every penny? Where's the line cut off for people who are a bit apprehensive about the fee that we've paid? And albeit, don't worry, it's not their fucking money. Do you know what I mean? It's Leeds United's money. I can't believe the amount of people that are moaning about some millions of pounds that don't belong to them. Thinking Football Manager, it's not our money, and the club obviously still see value in that particular player at whatever it is, rising up to 30 million or whatever. So, at what point do we sort of knock the glue merchants on the head and say, actually, he's been worth fucking every penny of that 30 million and more?
I don't know, to be honest. I mean, I think he just has to have a good season, and however you define good is up to you.
Do you think we'd have to judge him? Do you think we'd have to judge him on that first season, first 12 months? Then, well, it's going to be less than 12 months now. But do you think he has to hit the ground running immediately?
I kind of do, yeah. I feel like he needs to show something quickly. I think probably because of the fee, that's the case. Whereas if it was a lesser fee, that wouldn't be as big a deal, if you know what I mean. But we just, personally, I want to see something from him. I mean, like, looking back, where like Ross McCormack was shit in the first season he played for us, but he ended up being really fucking good once he's had time to bed in, and that happens with players. So if he's shit this season and we're all a bit like, he'll still get another chance next season. If he comes out of blocks then and he does well, all that'll be forgotten. It always is. People have short memories, when it comes to stuff
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
that.
Exactly. If he gets an hat-trick against Scum or the winning goal against somebody, it'll be like, that fee will be pretty much forgotten about. So I have every confidence that he's going to be a success at Leeds United. I think he's got something completely different to what we've got. He's a speed merchant, yeah, and I've seen him compared to Darren Huckabee, and I think that's probably Matt's simile. Huckabee Mark II, but he's not a Darren Huckabee. He's got something about him. He's a young kid that's hungry. He obviously wanted to be at Leeds. We've heard the stories on the back of what Swansea did to him, how gutted and upset he was that day. And look, I didn't realise Scum had paid so much for him. I didn't realise they paid pretty much double what we'd offered at the time.
15,
so when you look at that. Well, yeah, so 15, I think 15 up to 18 with add-ons. Right. So we've actually only paid initially 7 million more than probably what they've paid for him over 2 years on. So yeah, where are you with it, Matt?
I guess so. From your perspective, Luke, if you're overwhelmed and Jay sounds like he's whelmed, I'm underwhelmed.
I've never been described as whelmed before. Quite like that.
It's one of those where I don't. So in the Championship, I really, really wanted us to sign him, and I genuinely think that we'd have got promoted that season had we got that over the line. Because defenders at that level are shit scared of pace, whereas defenders in the Premier League just are a different kettle of fish. I get that. We don't have anybody that's blistered. Rafinha and Jackie, they're not slouches, but yeah, all right, they're not all out pace. But I don't see that he's better than either of them. So, like we were saying, like we'll come on to with the next segment and so on, it kind of depends on how it affects the setup. But I hate the fact that there's a potential for him to be our record signing, and we're handing that over to the Scum. I can't get away from it. That's a factor. It's where he's coming from, and the fact that they picked up a player that we were desperate to sign when they didn't need him. They haven't used him, and then we've paid them more money than they paid him for.
But on the other hand,
they were the record fee for buying a player off us as well, weren't they? On the
other hand of that, on the back of that though, imagine if he's an absolute massive success and we could say, fuck you, we've signed him for fucking 25-30 million off you, and he's now worth 50 or 60 in 2-3 years time. Do you know? Yeah. Imagine how you feel then.
There's every chance.
Absolutely every chance. And Gary Lloyd said there, it's the going rate for a player. And he's an international. He's played 50 times for Scum, including Champions League football, as you said, Jay. He's played in the Euros. If he takes it to the top half, that's enough. That's where Gary's saying that the line should be that actually, if we're successful in repeating last season's top half finish, then he's probably earned that. That 30 million has sort of paid for itself.
Yeah, I can understand that point of view.
Yeah, I can as well. But there's a bit of a fallacious argument that's going on at the moment, saying, "Well, Bielsa's just a genius. He's going to turn him into a world beater." Costa's had years of Bielsa and isn't a world beater by any stretch.
He wasn't
a miracle worker. No, but and Bielsa rates him, and I get all of that as well. But just saying that any signing is going to be a success because of Bielsa doesn't really work. Even if he's not. What Bielsa didn't do was look at Costa and go, "Nah, I'm moving you on," like you did with some. The players that he wasn't having in his squad, he didn't even let train with the rest of the squad. He made a decision really early on of the players that he was going to keep and the players that he was going to move on. Costa was in the keep pile. So, although he wasn't a signing of his, he was still somebody that he saw something in. And I think he started last season quite well, actually, but he's fallen way short of his own levels, never mind the levels that we need of him to be able to push on. So he need, Costa. We were looking at Poveda. We're now looking at Somerville as somebody that's going to step in. I'm hoping that the James saga means that Costa might go out on loan or whatever, and we don't see Somerville moving even further down the pecking order, because I think that would be a negative impact on him. But there's no two ways about it. James comes in, he improves our bench.
Just on that, really, really quickly. Since we've been live, Phil has just tweeted that Valencia looked like secure and held the Costa before the deadline. Turkish interest too, and Sheffield United had a look, but he won't be going to Bramall Lane. So it does look as if we might get a few quid back on the Dan James deal, or if Elder goes out on loan with view to buy or whatever. So it does look like the beginning, potentially the beginning of the end for Elder Costa, which means we've immediately improved the team for me. Immediately, because if Dan James comes into the bench against Liverpool, even if he's only coming off the bench or whatever, he's still a better option than Helder Costa would have been.
Yeah.
And let's face it, he probably will. For the first few weeks, he probably will come off the bench, won't he? Because that tends to be what Bielsa does. He don't put people straight in. I mean, to say that, I don't even think he did that with Rafinha, did he? He kind of eased him into it early on.
Costa didn't he? Costa start for the start of the season. He was keeping Rafinha.
What I mean is just after he'd been signed. Just after Rafinha had been signed, he kind of eased him in, is what I mean. So it's unlikely that he'll get thrown straight in. But equally, you can't second guess what Bielsa's ever going to do. We just don't know.
No.
So where do you, Gilly? And just quickly before you want to move on, where would you consider? Where would you be? Where would you need to be considered to be whelmed or overwhelmed if he's a success? So how are you going to measure that? I suppose.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that there's no chance of him being a success. All I'm saying is the way that I feel about it now is it's a bit nah. I wanted a centre midfielder, and obviously the money were there
for a lot of people. Though I think that soured it a bit for a lot of people because people did want to fill that position more than a winger.
If you look at
feeling is we've got Somerville if Costa's not up to it.
Well, yeah, and there's a lot of talk about value in the market, and the value of this deal for me isn't as good as we would have necessarily been hoping for. But you look at players like Koopmeiners, he's moving for £15 million. 50 million euros. It's £12 million, 12 and a bit.
Unreal.
So when you look at that in comparison. And that's a position that we really needed to do something about, and we look a bit short on. I guess when you can see, so the three things that we all spoke about, we wanted to do something about Kiko, we wanted to do something at left back, and we wanted to do something in the middle of the park. Now, it's not the worst window in the world because we've done 2 out of the 3, but that third one was probably the most key one. The Kiko piece, he could have sat on the bench. He wasn't affecting the first team unless, God forbid, something happens to Millie. He wasn't going to affect the first team anyway. It was just about how people were viewing the squad and things like that. It was perception more than actual playing on match days. Alioski, we knew wasn't going to be good enough. He wasn't consistent enough to be able to do something about it. So we needed to do something at left back, and we have. But really, that centre midfield piece. You look at Click, and he's had variable form. You look at Dallas, and we need him to fill in other areas. You look at Phillips, and when he's not in there, we really do struggle. And I know that Bielsa rates Cock in there as well. But we really, really needed to shore something up there. And we see some players moving for value fees that we didn't either we weren't in for, we didn't rate, or we didn't want, or we just missed out on. And Cunha and RDP and the various other ones, maybe those are pie in the sky.
Yeah, we need a bit of perspective. You look at the clubs that those players have gone to, and they're all going to be playing Champions League football this season. Exactly. So whilst there was potentially interest, somebody tweeted out earlier that there was genuine interest, and I was like, yeah, so fucking what? I'm interested in Rita Ora. It doesn't mean I'm going to get to nosh me off. Do you know what I mean? It's right though, isn't it? We can have genuine interest in a player.
It is.
If they're offered twice as much money in European football, just because we're Leeds United and we all love Leeds United doesn't mean that a player's going to think, fuck it. So I think we've had a successful window. I think this has been the cherry on the icing of the cake, and I don't think we'll see anybody else before 11 o'clock. Although I have seen a little tweet go out earlier that Yangel Herrera might be leaving City at some point tonight. So don't go to bed just yet.
Don't go to bed just yet.
Jesus Christ. Dear.
Right, okay, so we'll come on to the next segment.
Twitter poll results.
The fuck's that?
Twitter poll results.
What are you doing? You did it twice.
I haven't touched anything, mate. It's fucking Jay.
I haven't touched a thing, mate.
Right, so Jay, I'm going to come to you for the poll results, mate. Do you want to talk us through the Gary Lee did don't just yet? Do you want to talk us through the options and the one that was the eventual winner?
I will. So I had to put the poll up in the absence of our esteemed social media manager, Smarty. So the options we had.
Oh,
They only did it fucking 6 hours late.
Listen, mate. At least I did it.
Go on then.
Sod off.
Hurry up! Hurry up!
Want some appreciation here.
We're all waiting. Come on.
Oh, shut up. So we had 4 options. We had, with the signing of Dan James, we were talking about moving potentially Raf or Jackie into the number 10 position. We had Shaq or Ayling at right back. We also had recent form concerns. And then we had one that looked pretty popular there, the prepaid drinks fiasco at halftime and before the game and stuff. So the winner with a mighty 56% there was actually Raf or Jackie to number 10.
Okay. Who wants to take this one? Or then who wants to start us off? Yeah, I was actually convinced when we were being linked with wingers. I was convinced actually Rafinha would be moving inside. That was my first thought. Is, do you know what? We don't need a winger. I want an 8. I want cover in the centre. But do you know what? If it moves Rafinha in the side and the winger replaces him, great. But then just a couple of days ago, I was just thinking about Jackie. And last season, he was the one that moved inside when we played with an extra winger. When Costa or Poveda came in, Jackie was the one that moved inside and not Rafinha. So I just, I'm second guessing that. I'm thinking that maybe it would be Jackie because he was the one that was doing the interplay with Bamford. If you think about the moving along the lines and the switching inside. So I know Rafinha and Jackie swap quite often. But we did see Jackie stepping inside. And I think actually he started the cup game up front. So it may even be Harrison that steps inside and not Rafinha. So if the resulting signing is that we start Dan James in a wing slot and either Jackie or Raf on the other with one of them moving into the 10 role, it makes a lot more sense and allows us that a bit more freedom and like you said, there's an additional dimension with some pace running in behind, and then you've got somebody on either side doing that. So where my head is at the moment is, what the fuck? I don't know, because I thought I was quite sure what we're going to go on, and then I've realised that I'm not sure at all. So that's where I am on it.
So would you say whelmed?
Am I whelmed on where he's going to play? I discombobulated on where he's going to play.
Oh, discombobulated. That's a good word.
Been there before.
Well, I'm there still, man. That COVID's absolutely kicked fuck out of me. I'm still all over. I think, obviously, with Raf getting the 10 shirt at pre-season, I felt that there's been something going on all along. And now it might just be his favourite number, and I might be well off the fucking radar. But I've just had a feeling that Bielsa, and I'm sure I remember a quote from Bielsa stating around Rafinha when we signed him that he could play out wide or more centrally. Now I think
that rings a bell.
Memory serves me right. That he played quite a lot of games at 10 for Rennes as well. So if one of the two were to, I mean, probably disregarding Bielsa probably wants both of them to be able to, just in case he wants one of them to or not. But I see us lining up with Rafinha playing a more central role moving forward. I don't see him ever dropping Harrison, and I also don't see how he can play Dan James when he's gone after him for so long and paid, and give the nod on this massive transfer fee. So, but again, he's not going to drop Rafinha. So the three of them will be playing together in some way, shape, or form for me. In its infancy now, it's just a great feeling to have one additional option of whichever two play and the other one on the bench rather than relying on fucking Helder Costa. Do you know what I mean? It's just a bonus at the moment. But certainly long term, I can't see how he's going to drop any one of those three. And based on that, I think it sees Rafinha playing a more central role behind Patrick Bamford. And I think it'll work as well. So
just on that then, do you think that they'll look to maybe building a bit more fluidity in that. So if you've got, let's say that the three of them are playing behind Bamford and in front of Dallas and Calvin. If Dallas is deployed that bit deeper than he has been before, and they're both kind of almost a double pivot, maybe, do you think that he'll just go to those three, just go and play?
No.
You know your shapes, you know the patterns that we play.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you whether to be on the left or on the right. You go play the patterns that we play.
And what you're saying, so they'll mix it up between them and just fucking float, like maybe Raph will start on the right, go to the left, Dan James maybe might float into the centre. Yeah, no, it's not a bad call actually, and I've not even thought about it. I think we'll be a little bit more rigid than just go play though. I don't think we'll be as free roll as that. But I do think that flexibility certainly might be an option. Never even thought about it because I know Dan James can play either wing. I don't know if he's ever played in 10, but I know it. And like you mentioned about Harrison having come inside sometimes. In an ideal world, I think Bielsa would want that three to be able to play in any of the three positions. So they could pretty much do that and just swap and change as needed. So yeah, great shout. Where are you with, Jay?
Yeah, I did think about that with the all three of them.
Lying bastard.
No, I promise you.
Fuck off.
Look, Mez, it's not my fault I'm smarter than you. So, yeah, I mean, I would probably go with Raf if we're just selecting one of them to be there. I think with the skill that he's got and like the way he can get behind and stuff, I think that he would be more suited. I think that Harrison is just so much better on the wing for me. I wouldn't want to see him there. I'd rather see Raf. I just think that Harrison's more valuable on the wing.
Yeah, I think what we will lose with Raf on the wing is that burst of excitement when the ball goes to him, because you know, somebody who plays more centrally, they have to you know, their range of passing has to be a little bit better. Their vision, they have to see some things that potentially a winger's only got to see what's in front of them. Whereas when you play centrally, you've got to be able to know what's around you at all times. Yeah. So we will lose that little bit of excitement where Rafinha gets the ball and he knows there's only one player in front of him and he'll go at him. So if that is the case, I mean, we're obviously speaking hypothetically because none of us have a fucking clue what's going on inside Bielsa's head. But yeah, no, I think that is it. Just the very fact that we're talking about this and all the different options that this Dan James signing has opened in itself is exciting. Yeah,
definitely. But you never know, that excitement thing, we might end up getting that from Dan James if he kicks on.
I've already got a poster of him on my wall.
Is it sticky?
From last time.
I've drawn a moustache on it with a marker pen and that, so it looks a little bit older.
I'll tell you what, right? Some Man U fan on Twitter today were trying to sort of have a dig at us by posting a video of us. I think
it's pronounced scum.
Well, yeah, scum, you know, shit houses, all the same. So someone posted a video of us at Old Trafford singing "You're Not Good Enough to Play for Leeds" at Dan James. And I was looking at that and thinking, oh yeah, this from the same fan base that wished cancer on Ronaldo when they thought he were signing for City. Yeah, you know, try and have a go at us, pal. Scumbags.
What's the message, Jay?
Just saying they're hypocritical.
I think the message is him quoting exactly what I responded with on Twitter for that very video. I think that's what it was.
Did you also say the same?
Yeah.
We're on the same page, you and me, Gilly. Great news. I don't know. I always thought I were a lost soul till I found you.
Separated at birth, you two sexy bastards.
That's it. I just got all the hair.
Hey, that's gone, mate. That's waving goodbye, is that?
It's got all the hot hair.
The light's going through it because it's stuck up. Plenty of this,
gone, mate. Farm food's for them.
You can say what you want, Baldy. Piss off.
Right, moving on. So into the international break. So I was just checking in with you before because I'd seen rumours of it, but I'd not seen it confirmed. We believe that Brazilian players and potentially other South American players, maybe even others, are not going to be allowed to travel. That's my understanding. Were you able to confirm that, or did you go, yeah, I think so? Can't remember.
I haven't looked, mate, to be fair, but the last I heard was that Rafinha wouldn't be going. I think it was Graham Smith put out that unfortunately he'd been missing his first cap because of the Premier League have all come together and agreed that anywhere in a potentially dangerous COVID area wouldn't be released.
Yeah, and do you know what? That probably helps Liverpool as much as us. In fact, maybe more. I think more players would have been impacted on their side. But given our squad and the nature of it, and losing Rafinha is just a massive loss for us, then that would have impacted us. But on the bright side, Lord Bamford,
Oh no,
in line for his first cap.
Well, the guy deserves it.
I'm looking forward to it, mate. Can't wait. I just hope that they haven't taken him along for the ride, and I know Calvert-Lewin's dropped out, hasn't he?
Was it?
Yeah, he has. Yeah.
So that obviously moves him.
Fans were shouting, "You've got to pick Greenwood now."
So yeah, I think that leaves that gives him an additional opportunity. Obviously, Kane hasn't had a lot of game time this season as well, so the likelihood is that he's probably not match fit. Southgate probably watched a lot of Bamford and realised how fit he is. So I think he stands a good chance of getting some minutes and at least his very first cap, if not 2 caps.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I'm really hoping that he does well.
Just a question on that, just because you touched on it, because I was considering this, and I wasn't going to bring it up on the transfer thing. This is a Leeds podcast, and I don't give a shit about Spurs. But with an England perspective, you're Gareth Southgate, and you're looking at that Kane situation. How do you feel? It's not going to be great.
As Gareth Southgate,
how do you feel?
Well, you've got to weigh it up, haven't you? I mean, he's come out and said he's never not agreed to come and train for Spurs, that he was coming back on the agreed date and whatnot and so on, and he's going to stay there and help and battle on and push for Europe and all that sort of stuff. But that's his media manager telling him to say all the right things. Do you know what I mean? We know that at some point there's been conversation with City that he wants to go there and he's not turned up or whatever, because Tottenham have said that he's not turned up to training for 2 days on the bounce or whatever. So whilst all that sort of paints a pretty picture, there's obvious evidence there that suggests otherwise. So as Gareth Southgate, you've got to question: is this man the right man to captain England? Simple as that.
Yeah. I mean, Calvin Phillips looks great with a captain's armband on it. Could you?
Yeah.
I can't really disagree with what Luke said, to be fair.
Fucking hell!
That's not like you.
Listen, sometimes you're right, aren't you?
Always, mate.
So, if I were in Southgate's shoes, I'd be having a word with him and I'd be trying to check. Hang on, what's that?
You want me?
Probably one of my fucking dogs.
I'd be asking him whether his head's right, basically. I'd be sitting him down for a chat and see where he's at, because he can't be fully sort of all right and focused, can he? Because, he's had a shitty time trying to get out of there. He's been trying to force a move. He's not got what he's wanted. He's been made to stay. He feels like the agreement's been broken. He's not going to be massively happy, is he? So Southgate needs to check that. He needs to sort of sit down with him, see where he's at, I think. Other than that, it's up to him, isn't it?
But is that Southgate's job? I mean, as the England manager it is, but he's got to get his own house in check first. He needs to sort it out with. I mean, it looks like Nuno Espirito, whatever his name is, has accepted that Kane's going to be staying there and they're going to be working together. But you're not questioning his football ability. You're questioning his commitment, aren't you? And if you're just going to leave your mates in the shit for a potential winning more silverware or getting paid twice as much money, where does Southgate stand on that? Because it's not an England issue.
No, it's not.
But it almost becomes one, because he's meant to be leading that team of 11 players.
Yeah, and if there's been
that squad of 20, whatever.
If there's been enough media coverage and stuff, then it becomes an England issue, doesn't it? Because players are going to talk, and there's a public image thing as well, and what the bloody FA are like for public image. So
Adam Terry getting it on with his best mate's expert. That would not to do with football.
No, exactly.
You still speak to the captain too, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you could talk about some other players at Leeds who did something that were not to do with football. They didn't get picked. But yeah, it's just he needs to just sort of speak to him and see where he's at. And, he's got every right to question his character now. He's got every right to sit him down and say, how do I know you won't let these boys down? I need to know that the boys trust you as well, because if they don't trust the captain, then it's not going to work, is it? So
Do you know what I'd do?
There is an element of man management in there, and sitting down.
Do you know what I'd do? Is if I was Southgate, I'd get him hanging off the fucking bar, and I'd get every other player to kick a ball at his ass.
Capital punishment, Mez style.
Yeah, and then that's it. His other weights forgotten about. Move on.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, and do you know what?
Make him sing a song.
But that's the important thing, isn't it? He's being able to move past it. But Joe, purely on footballing terms, Calvin's one of those that when he's coming back from injury tends to get to speed really quickly. And yet, at the start of this season, wasn't. And so there would be a risk. If you look at the order of games, we've got Hungary and then we've got Andorra. Now, whatever we say, I mean, Hungary have got a rich history, but they're not the best side now. But they are leagues away from where Andorra are. They're so much better than Andorra. So we're in a situation where do you start Bamford because he's match fit, and then you play Kane against Andorra because it's got to come into it. I mean, the points he made here, Kane will start, but Bamford. Which shout was that though? Gary's also said, I think Kane will start, but Bamford will get his first cap. That might be the case. He might get the first half or something. Get minutes into his legs and so on. But
do you know what? Do you know what though? Kane didn't even look fit in the Euros for me.
No,
I don't know if it's that because
really off the boil.
I don't know if that's because we're so used to seeing the energy in Patrick Bamford and the way he throws himself around that defensive line as a pressing forward. But he just looked absolutely fucking knackered.
He did.
Kane does that as well, though, doesn't he?
Do you remember like everyone taking?
Kane does do that though. Go on, Jay.
Go on. Everyone taking piss, saying like everything he did were in slow motion, so they didn't need to show any replays of him. That's what they said about Kane in the Euros. That's how bad he was.
It's like you sending your bio in.
You were lumbering around. Listen, mate.
At least Kane eventually delivered.
So piss off.
At least,
very busy.
At least Kane still did it. But yeah, no, look, he's there's no denying he's a world class player and he's England's best centre forward. But yeah, it'll be an interesting one. It'll be. I'm sure there'll be potentially a couple of surprises maybe within the starting 11. I don't think it'll be anything like the starting 11 that played in that final.
So just on that then, when we're talking about the squads and so on, so we covered Jackie and the position that we might see him playing then. Obviously we've already got Calvin, we've already got Paddy in there. Has he got a realistic shout? Given the plethora of talent that England have available at the moment, has Jackie got a shout?
I think so. I think if he carries on the way he started the season and he builds on that, then why not? He's been our most outstanding player so far.
I disagree because I think we, like you said, we've got such a, like you said, I think you used the word plethora of attacking talent, and you've got. I mean, Jadon Sancho didn't really feature in the Euros. He's now come to one of England's probably biggest, teams that's going to push for silverware and stuff. But you see, if he starts playing well, he will become England's first pick. He will, and that's just the way it is. If they're pushing for the Premier League title, and Jadon Sancho's had a real input in that, he will be playing more frequently for England. And then you've got people like Grealish, you've got Foden, you've got Saka, you've got Rashford. There's so many people who I think are probably, and then there's probably people that we haven't even mentioned that are even on fringes before Jackie as well, unfortunately. However, if he continues with his progression and he's working hard, because he's come on, he's probably been our most improved player since Bielsa's joined. For me. I'd say probably from the rawness that we got when he first came on loan to where he is now, he's probably the most improved. And if he continues with that, I'm not saying never, but I'm just saying I don't see it in the immediate.
But you do, Jay?
Yeah, I think if he carries on, then he'll get a shout. I think so. I think he'll at least get a chance, even if it's just for a friendly or something.
I think for me, well, there's one of those where cynically they might go for a giving an appearance just to give him a cap. just in case that progression does carry on and then they don't lose into a different country. So yeah, I'm in two minds on this. Having watched him week in, week out, looking at him and thinking the work rate he's got, that first touch is just about as good as anybody's in football right now. We were frustrated about the product, but then coming into was it 8 assists and 6 goals he scored last season? That is a mighty return for a player playing his first season in the Premier League. So if it was to emulate or improve on that, you'd hope that he'd get a chance. But I've got to be honest, I'm with Luke on this one, in as much as because of where the players that he's up against are playing, the Cities, the Scums, the Liverpools, the Chelseas, because Mount will be in there. There's a propensity at England for them to pick from those clubs. Other than you look at Grealish and the season he's had, and he wasn't even getting in the England team after the season he had, and after all the mounting pressure. I would like to see him given an opportunity. Whether we will actually get to see him or not, especially given the ages of the players he's up against, and they're not towards the end of their careers either. I worry that he's not going to get a chance. I hope he does.
Yeah,
you've also got to take into account the England youngsters coming through as well all the time. So it's almost it's making it really difficult because we've got so many good wingers, and historically it used to be a problem position for us. Did the left wing, didn't it? So I love to, but can't see it anytime soon for me. Sorry.
Gary Lloyd says pillow feet has to be close. Surely he's in there with me. He knows.
We spoke about we tend to do the hot topic in the main podcasts, but I don't think there's appetite for it this week. We'll say, but I was doing a little bit of work beforehand anyway, just having a look. And I've got a Marco Rossi fact. He's the Hungary gaffer. And in FIFA 97, he was rated 97 and therefore the best player in FIFA 97. So there you go. There's my Marco Rossi fact.
Wow.
Nice. I didn't even have. I think my first FIFA was FIFA 90. It might have been 96 or 94. Actually, I can't remember. I remember 98 was Road to the World Cup.
Road to the World Cup, yeah. So I remember playing that and getting really gutted when I got to the end. I was like, no, hang on a minute, where's the World Cup? Because it was just the Road to the World Cup. It was a qualification. You didn't actually get.
You'd never get away with that these days. Unbelievable.
Road to World Cup.
That stupid fucking parrot thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Mad.
Right, so I think we're getting to the tail end now. So unless there's anything else you guys want to add, I think we're just about done.
I think we had the small matter of a competition, didn't we?
Oh, we did. That's a good shout. That is a good shout. Hang on a second. Here we go.
Auto No Better competition winner. Auto No Better.
Oh, do you know what it is?
Why did you do it twice?
No, it's because I clicked to hide it. I think it's because it takes it away automatically when it's done. So I clicked to take it away, but actually that puts it back on again. So, it's all a learning curve.
Beforehand, wouldn't you?
I never get anybody else to jump on with me, Jay.
So I did
do it on work time.
I did do a draw earlier, and I have got the name. We have got the name written down, and Matt independently adjudicated this one. I did this bloody draw, didn't you, Matt?
I did.
So yeah, we've done the draw, and thanks everyone to entering. The winner's going to get any shirt from our official partners at 3 Retro, and I think they can pick any shirt. So it'll just be a case of getting in touch.
Look, you're deafening me with that pen, mate.
What pen? What pen?
In your hand.
Fucking hell, man.
Oh, you're a fibber. At least it's got a metal straw.
Hey,
so, yeah, what do you want to see a magic trick?
Oh, God.
Hang on a minute. Hang on, look. Oh, we all hate Jay. Says costed out, looks like it will be done, gents. I don't know if that's...
Harsh.
Is that hating you? Or is that... No, actually, that might be Jay that's in the... Irish Jay that's in the group chat with us. That might be him, actually.
Yeah.
I think that might be his. That's his. That's his
Anyway, the
Twitter handle, isn't it?
competition. Shut the fuck up.
Sorry, competition. Yeah.
So yeah, it's our official partners at 3 Retro very kindly donated a prize to the successful winner. We run a stupid fucking.
Put that fucking pen down.
Yeah,
What
put it
pen?
away.
I've just asked if you want me to do a magic trick with it, but you didn't. So fuck you.
No, I didn't.
Yeah,
Put it down instead.
It's gone.
Right. Carry on. Competition winner.
Do you know what it is? When I work from this desk, I can't find a fucking pen. Yeah, so we did a bit of a draw earlier, and we've got a winner here. We'll contact the winner, and it'll just be a case of you can pick any shirt from their, I think pretty much from their whole portfolio of shirts. The winner's name is Lindsay, and I've got her at somewhere written down, but I can't remember where it is. So I think it's at Linz42H or something like that. So yeah, well done to Lindsay. And
Is that the issue about?
42 probably, yeah.
We're a professional bunch, aren't we?
She'll be a couple of years younger than you then, won't she? So yeah, well done, and yeah, get in touch and we'll get that shirt sorted with that 3 Retro. Do keep your eyes peeled, because I do know we've got a couple more giveaways to get organised. I think Smarty's got one to run, and have you got one as well, Gilly?
I have indeed, yep.
So yeah, we've got a couple more giveaways to be run. What we've got coming up over the next week or two, we've got obviously the international break, haven't we? So we'll have no Brady and Corks, but I think we've got the main pod again next Tuesday. Looking forward to, well, we'll probably have a bit of chat, hopefully about Paddy Bamford's performances for England.
Fingers crossed.
And then looking forward to Liverpool. And we do have an in off the VAR coming after the Liverpool game with our resident League of Ireland football referee assessor. So that's with Jimmy the ref. So we've got that to look forward to as well. If you haven't seen that, he's a great laugh. Can't understand a fucking word he says, but he's funny.
I think YouTube subtitles it, if you ask.
Unfortunately, he's not been so well recently, but the word is good. So we'll be looking forward to having him back on, because he's a great fella.
He's brilliant.
Wicked. Perfect.
Cool. Right. Okay. We will call it there, lads. Thank you very much for your time, and thanks everybody for joining us. Match on together, and we'll see you soon.
God bless Daniel James.
See you there.